And good evening, and welcome to the final round coverage of the Virtual Online Racers Porsche GT3 Cup here from the world-famous Sebring International Raceway. Qualifying already underway, 13 minutes remaining. As you can see, currently on pole we have Norm Graff from Eugenio Perez. So the normal front two have once again resumed hostilities here, and we just have a little bit left to go before we move on to the race itself, and it should be a good one. Three drivers separated by literally all of 6 points. Now, unfortunately, one of our drivers, Sean Campbell, one of the championship leaders, is unable to participate in tonight's race, which is unfortunate because obviously he is one of the top three. He's actually your points leader coming into this race. Second place, Jake Witcher and JT Tammy rounds out the top three, only 6 points behind. So that's really going to be the battle for the championship. While Graff and Perez may be faster on the road, it is certainly going to be interesting to see who is going to come out on top in the championship. So for those of you who are new to VOR, it's a two-race format in this series. Bit of a change from the normal endurance format, but the Porsche Cup cars do run shorter races. And in the second race, both races 30 minutes. Second race, all the finishers are going to be inverted, and it always makes for an interesting second race, even without the added championship implications. So, as you can see from the ticker across the screen, we have currently on pole. You're currently watching Eugenio Perez circulate in second, just 0.2 off the pole. Jake Witcher a third, 1/10.5 behind. And then finally we go back and look at JT Tammy circulating. He is a little bit, he's about a little 3/4 of a second off the pace, so certainly not bad, but he definitely like to be up there. Garth Buchanan circulating fifth, further 0.5 back, and then Jason Quinn and Mike Bennett those three are all pretty close together before we go back to Juan Amaya and John Cook. Finally John Tammy, and Nick Woodbury has not set a qualifying lap yet. Not that that means anything. He has won a race in this series starting from the back with no practice. So this is actually this is a big thing for him. As you can see, Tammy has in fact jumped up the order. He is now third, only a 1/4 second off of Graff's time. So the plot thickens. Got 10 minutes to go in the session here. So we watch Tammy into the hairpin. Let's see how his first sector time is. Of course, trying to keep track of the entire field and the live timing, which is a bit spotty for the race server, at least for me, unfortunately. So we definitely have to hunt around and see what we can find. So Tammy on another pretty quick lap, not the quickest though. Witcher is actually faster than him in the first and second sectors, but it's not enough to improve. As Witcher beginning another lap will actually go on board with. He's in the pits now. I'm trying to find someone to go on board with for the lap of Sebring. We're on board with JT Tammy here. 2:02 that lap, so although the first couple of sectors were pretty good, he definitely lost a bit in Sector 3. Where Sector 3 is couple tight turners and the all-important launch onto the straight in the Sunset Bend, you know, the Holman Straight. For those of you that do not know, Sebring is actually was originally, well, as you can see, part of an airport, part of Sebring National Airport. It's not getting used much anymore, obviously. Although part of it does still have an active runway. So this is right-handers. This is tower turn. This is when we get into sector from sector 2 to 3 here. Apologies. So we really need to be tight through Le Mans, this section here. Especially, you need to get a very good exit out of 16 onto the Holman Straight, because especially in qualifying as well, especially during the race, it is definitely one of your best passing opportunities in the Sunset Bend. The site of many, the scene of many dramatic movements over the years. Through the speed trap, is just 1 kilometer per hour down on the fast speed. Cross the line, not improving. It might be time to slap a new set of tires on. So, turn 1 is a very tricky corner, and here comes Tammy pulling off. So, I'm actually just in time to get on board with Jake Butcher as he starts another lap. So, as I was saying, turn 1, you really want to get back on the throttle as soon as possible. However, there is the transition from the concrete to the asphalt can cause some problems in the later cars, but looks to be coping pretty well. You have this very, very tight section before you get shot out on the big bend here. A long sweeping right-hander that you're full throttle on. And you again come down to the hairpin, which is going to be one of the quicker corners, the quicker approaches, and actually one of the slowest points on the track. Great passing opportunity into here, as Butcher will come by and through the first sector. So the battle is definitely amongst the top 4 for pole here. We have Buchanan a full second back from Butcher here, so you get the feeling that any of the top 4 could definitely take pole here. Well, Butcher runs wide, but he kept his foot in it there. Transitioning sector 3. You see Mike Bennett with a lockup in front of him. It was extremely tidy through there. A little oversteer. Kind of runs very, very wide in front of him. Don't think this lap is going to get him where he needs to go, as we just drop under 5 minutes remaining in the session here. He was actually a couple kilometers per hour slower through the speed trap. See where he's going to be as he crosses the line. It's going to be an improvement there. He was actually pretty good through the first 2 sectors, just matching up his sectors there. 45.5 is actually pretty much on par with Graf's pole lap, but he lost a lot in sector 3, unfortunately. So you're looking at Butcher. He's currently making his way through sector 1 right now. He's to come through the end of it. As the timing updates will Let you know what his first sector time was. And I hope he doesn't get balked by his teammate as well. Of course, Bennett and Buchanan, along with Jake Patrol, make up Faint Motion Motorsports. Doesn't look to be compromised too terribly badly. Meanwhile, Nick Woodbury has moved his way up into the 5th position, so he's a good bit closer. He is only 6/10 off pole, and then a further 5/10 back to Jason Quinn, who's moved his way up to 6th. You have Buchanan and Bennett in 7th and 8th, respectively, and then Montemaya, John Cook, and John Tammy rounding up the field. To be honest, it's a bit of a disappointing turnout for the final race here. Built a lot of momentum, and oh, that was almost very, very. And you see Witcher severely compromised in Sunset Bend. May have been backing off just to give himself a little gap, but I do not know that will be enough. You can see again, quite quick in the first 2 sectors, but sector 3, it's just not happening for him. And now it looks like Nick Woodbury is going off the circuit. Or not, sorry, Mike Bennett. So this will be the closest thing to a clean lap that Witcher is probably going to get. It's probably also, unless he pits down, it'll be his last lap. So last chance saloon for Jake Witcher to pull himself up onto the front row, which would definitely be good coming with the standing start. And getting as far ahead of the possible turn 1 calamity as possible. Little counter steering opposite lock, but he's managed to hold on to it. This is looking like a pretty quick lap. Coming across the top of the circuit. Going to be full throttle all the way to the Le Mans corners. And again, counter steering all the way, but holding on to it. He really needs a good exit, and he's got a great exit coming down the Holman Straight. And let's check his speed in the speed traps. That can't be correct. It looks either he's significant. Oh, there we go. 249. So pretty close. Oh, he's opposite lock all the way through the final corner. He's gonna hold it, but I can't imagine it's gonna be the fast way around. So a second, almost a second and a half off. He has one more shot. Take a look at what Tammy's doing as well. This is going to be Tammy's last opportunity. A little faster in the speed trap, and he's holding it very, very tight in the Sunset Bend. He's going to cross the line, and let's see where he will end up. That was not a time lap. He did not make it around in time. As it stands, Perez in the pits. You're looking at graphs circulating right now. Not the fastest in the speed trap. Let's see if his time is going to improve. Meanwhile, Woodbury has gone to pole a 2:01.1 on the last lap of this session. Can Graf answer back as he crosses the line? He does not. So from 5th and nowhere to on pole by Nick Woodbury, a 2:01.156, pole by almost over a third of a second. That was certainly unexpected. It was a great lap from Woodbury. He is set to start on pole. Looking at Norm Graff, your second place starter. Eugenio Perez starting 3rd. JT Tammy 4th. One of the 2 championship protagonists. The other being Jake Witcher, of course, as I said at the opening. Current points leader Sean Campbell. will miss the race. However, I will say that due to the system with drops in place here, there is still an opportunity, if the drops work out right, for Campbell to win this championship. Let's see. Advance to the warm-up session here. So it's 10-minute warm-up, so go ahead. If you need to use the bathroom, by all means, go for it. In the meantime, you'll see the driver's meeting notes from Senior Administrator Mark Buchanan. So, really, the core rules for this series are, first of all, in terms of track cutting and track boundaries, you do need to keep really a minimum of 2 wheels on the racing surface at all times. Otherwise, we have seen, notably, Adam Baldwin, a very fast driver who was disqualified from a number of races for going over the lines. So, for instance, we're just going to look around, just try to find a TV camera that really illustrates this well. So you see through Big Ben on the run down to Tower Turn, you got some curbs, or not? I'm sorry, not Tower Turn. I actually meant the hairpin. But for instance, you have the curbs and the white lines. Basically, you cannot exceed the track limits. You cannot get more than 2 wheels beyond the white line. It's considered a cut. You can give that that time back simply by lifting off the throttle or applying the brakes for 1 second. Obviously, common sense does apply. You cannot do that with a gaggle of cars behind you. So as you can no doubt see from the driver's briefing, turn 17, that's Sunset Bend, and turn 1 are both white line open, which means that you can go as far or stay as far in from the white lines as you like. There will be no penalties for cutting there, but the rest of the track, you will need to maintain the 2 wheels inside the white lines. So, as you can see, the track is now open. See if any cars go out for some last-minute practice. Actually, I would hope that everyone watching this would know whose stream this is, since it is my channel, but I am Paul Schumann, longtime driver at VOR. I will freely admit that I do not like these cars. And I will drive just about anything with wheels, but I hate driving these cars. There is something about them that makes me lose the joy of driving. It literally takes the joy out of driving for me, and I don't like it. It wounds me, which I never thought I'd say about a car, but it does. And I've driven historics, single-seaters, other GT cars. This is the first one that I have driven in, and it literally made, well, not literally, but it basically made me throw up in my mouth. Not a fan. But it is very popular, and we've got some new drivers in the mix at VOR, as well as some older ones that have come back I haven't seen in quite a while. So you're currently watching your pole sitter, Nick Woodbury, going around. This is his first reconnaissance lap in that Haribo Gummy Bear Porsche 997. Sorry, Flat 6. Not allowed to refer to it by its brand name. It's not a Need for Speed game. Please don't sue me. The only other rule of note is that obviously there's no live steward for this race. So after both races, the stewards will look at the replays for any incidents that occur, either that are reported or the incident report generated by the game, if the impact is high enough. If you are responsible for an incident, you can apply what's known as the gentleman's rule. What this means, practically, is if you wait for the car you unfortunately spun, put in the wall, what have you, and what would be an avoidable contact penalty could be reduced to an infraction, down to warning, and so on and so forth. So if you ever see any sudden stops, now you know why. So we've got about a little over 5 minutes left in the warm-up. We're beginning his first flying lap, just to get used to running around in the car again. Obviously, you're going to have a much higher fuel load to start the race. And you're also going to have to be a little more mindful of the tires. These cars do start to slip and slide around if you abuse the tires. And especially on an abrasive surface, half concrete, half asphalt, it is definitely bound to happen. I also just want to apologize now for any possible issues with the graphics or the stream. I am still very much coming to grips with this overlay, which, as you can see, is very useful. However, it does need a bit of work, which if I do any races next season, I will certainly do that. But I just wanted to get us all ready to go. As you can see, Witcher was the first to complete a lap with 2:02.8. And Woodbury is going to come through with a 2:01.8. So he's looking very racy in race as well as qualifying trim. So he has clearly done his homework and is ready to go in this race. It's good in the order. You see Witcher circulating. Just to give you all an idea of what we're looking at in terms of cars. This is Norm Graff. Starting second, the outside of the front row. Genio Perez. Watching JT Tammy circulate in the sole champion Porsche in tonight's race. Normally there are at least three, Sean Campbell being the other, and finally Andy Dickman, who is not here. So the sole man carrying the banner tonight is JT Tammy. Further back, you have Jason Quinn, Garth Buchanan, second fastest of the faint motion cars in qualifying. Of course, Jake Witcher was the fastest. And then you go further back, you have Mike Campbell in third faint motion car. Juan Amaya, and finally John Tammy. I think we missed him going through the order. That John Cook, believe, is going to be starting last. I'm not certain, but he is the 11th driver. Making up the grid. Oh, and I thought John was going to go over there. Well held, though I'm not sure that had anything to do with talent, more luck. I have rolled these cars. The most entertaining way I rolled these cars was at Silverstone, coming into the penultimate corner. I didn't roll it all the way, and for the rest of practice, I literally sat there with my headlights on, facing the apex, on my side. People were entertained. I think some people also wanted to kill me, but they can deal with it. So we're about ready to get underway here. Our observer is going to be one formation lap, led by pole sitter Nick Woodbury. Then the cars will form up on the grid and get ready for the beginning of race 1. And here we go, the cars taking to the grid. Cars are off on their formation lap. We're leading them around approximately 100 miles per hour. So, just to reiterate, go through the grid one last time. Nick Woodbury, not running for the championship, hasn't made enough races, unfortunately, but he is definitely a potential spoiler, a very quick driver. Second place, Norm Graff again. He joined us mid-season. He's been quite quick, but just not enough races to be a contender for the championship. Eugenio Perez starting third. He's a very quick driver over one lap, but there have been some, I'm just going to call them issues with his racecraft that we actually saw him put on probation at one point in the season. Fourth place, in fact, starting Linus Stern are the two championship contenders, well, the two in this race. Fourth being JT Tammy in Champion Motorsports, Champion Racing, Porsche, and behind him the first of the Fate Motion Motorsport entries, the Red Bull liveried car of Jake Witcher. And just to reiterate, the start of tonight, on 394 points, Sean Campbell, who is not here, is actually leading the championship. Jake Witcher, sits second, 391, and then with 385, we have JT Tammy. So 9 points separate first to third, and then Jason Quinn is further 30 points back. And even with not making many races, Nick Woodbury actually sits currently 5th, but he's on 293 points, actually tied with Garth Buchanan on 293. So the car is making their way down the Holman Straight down to Sunset Bend. Let's finish running through the order real quick. Jason Quinn starting 6th, Garth Buchanan 7th, his teammate Mike Bennett 8th, Juan Amaya 9th, John Cook 10th, and John Tammy will bring up the rear and start 11th. So 11 drivers tonight. We're going to line up on the grid. When the lights go off, we'll be green for the first of 2 races in the season-ending round 12 of the Virtual Online Racers GT3 Cup. Looks like back of the grid is setting up. Now Tammy and Cook are in place. So, when the lights go out, we have 30 minutes. Lights are on and they're off. And a slow getaway by Woodbury as they come into turn 1. Norm Graff is in the lead, and Eugenio Perez actually inching his way up into second place. And further back, Jake Witcher also looks like he got a shocking start. He's back in 8th. So Tammy is the big winner there. He may have lost the position, but he is back in 5th. So well above the man he needs to beat if he wants to lay his hands on the championship at the end of the night. So Woodbury has got back past Perez. So the order is Graff, Woodbury, Perez, Quinn, Tammy rounding out the top 5. A bit of a queue already forming behind Eugenio Perez. He's gone far too deep in the hairpin. He's going to lose a bunch of positions. Perez actually dropping all the way down to 10th on the track. He's going to be back up to 9th. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. So that's going to elevate Witcher into 7th, Tammy up to 4th, as we keep focused on that all-important championship battle. Meanwhile, back at the front, the Graf leading from Woodbury is already closed back up following that very poor start. The Almond straight for the first time in anger, and Woodbury's already trying to see if he can get a toe off Graf. Not going to be close enough this time. But JT Tammy is looking to go by Quinn for 30. Doesn't get it done. But he could get a much better run off Sunset Bend. Not really. So he's going to have to wait a little bit. Meanwhile, Graf sets fastest lap on the first lap. But there's not much of a gap at all back to Nick Woodbury in second place. Meanwhile, further back, Witcher going by Buchanan as their teammates. I would hope that Garth would not make it too difficult for him, and he doesn't. Witcher up into 6th. Next car on his list would be Mike Bennett, his other teammate, in 5th position. Oh, good bit of oversteer from Jason Quinn, who is ahead of JT Tammy, but not much in that. Could be compromised by that exit as Woodbury's looking for the lead. Tammy is looking for second. He's not going to get it there. So we've already got two fascinating battles on track here. Two tandems for first and second, and third and fourth. A little further back is Mike Bennett and then Jake Witcher. I stress little breathing space for Quinn, but no breathing space at the front for Nick Woodbury. Woodbury taking much tighter lines. I think he's going to get a much better exit down the Almond Straight. Is he going to have enough to get him here? He just does not have the speed as they come down into Sunset. But Graf is going very deep. Woodbury holding a tighter line. He's not going to get the better exit. As you see back, move for 8th. Eugenio Perez slowly working his way back up. Meanwhile, Tammy has taken 3rd, but Quinn is not going to try. He's not going to try to sneak it back up the inside. So that is P3 for JT Tammy, as he tries to continue his march to the front and possibly a march to the championship. Meanwhile, Witcher has caught up to Mike Bennett. And really, Witcher here has the advantage in that he has, albeit an only 6-point advantage on JT, but if he can either match him or get close to matching him, that should serve him well as we go into race 2, which is obviously notoriously unpredictable. Witcher having a look, but thought better of it. Meanwhile, further back, Perez is caught back up to Garth Buchanan. However, it looks as Perez may have gone up again. He's passed my Maya, he was a good bit of time ahead of. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Now this time Woodbury is alongside of Graf, but he's further alongside this time. Coming through Sunset Bend, and Tammy has come back into the picture as well. And they're gonna be there's just nothing in it. Is Tammy gonna try a bold move to get the lead? He's meanwhile done the fastest lap of the race. Gonna be side by side for the lead in turn one. Graf is gonna get it back. And in fact, Woodbury is going to get passed by Tammy for second. So, JT Tammy climbs his way up to second. Woodbury went from leading, exiting Sunset Bend, to battling to get second place back. Graf has gotten himself a bit of a cushion at the front. Is Woodbury going to try anything down into the hairpin? The hold station. So we've basically got a four-way battle for the lead now. Graf from Tammy, from Woodbury, and Jason Quinn. Meanwhile, back in fifth, Mike Bennett is ahead of his teammate Jake Witcher. In fact, the Fate Motion Motorsports car is running fifth, sixth, and seventh. And Perez has now dropped all the way to the rear of the field, so he must be having some significant dramas. Just looking further back, Witcher is about 4/10. The gap varies, about 4/10 behind Mike Bennett, who is obviously going to be very anxious to get around. And Tammy is all over the back of Norm Graf. And meanwhile, Woodbury is all over the back of Tammy. They are starting to gap Jason Quinn in fourth. Looks to be in the no man's land of quicker than the Fate Motion cars, but just not enough pace to challenge for the lead. Tammy is gonna try. I thought he was gonna try to poke it up the inside, but Graf gets the better drive. However, it's very close as we go into turn one. Further down the field, Perez is gone back by John Tammy. And meanwhile, Jake Witcher has gotten by Mike Bennett for fifth. So we're going to see if he can set off in pursuit of Jason Quinn in fourth, and possibly the front three, who are definitely in a class of their own at the moment. Actually won that last lap. Tammy was fastest, JT Tammy. Just not fast enough, though. He's about 8/10 off his fast lap, but running side by side, you'd expect a little drop off in the times. Oh, Tammy hangs the rear out as they come into the Ullman straight. Is that going to compromise him as Woodbury looks for a way back into second? He's right up underneath the rear wing of that Champion Racing Porsche. And he is going to chuck it down the inside into the last corner. And it looks like he is going to get the spot. So elevate Woodbury back up to P2 on the track. And meanwhile, Norm Graf in the lead is going to have no problem with that whatsoever. He is going to be happy to see them fight it out amongst themselves, because that means he's going to have an opportunity to drive away. So the order at the front now is Graf first, Woodbury second, Tammy third. Quinn and Witcher remain unchanged in fourth and fifth. So I go actually on board with Tammy. Woodbury's kept him a little on the run down to the hairpin. You can see just how unstable these cars are, especially on the brakes. It's like a good bit of just those counter steering to keep the car braking in a straight line. Come up in the tower turn, you can see Woodbury inching further and further away. He's about a second off of one graph, and JT Tim is just falling a little further behind. Actually, he's so much falling further behind. Woodbury is inching ever closer to the leader graph. Oh, and you can see Tammy really fighting the car through Le Mans. Back one, there's Woodbury. A little moment of his own, but he looks like he kept his foot in it. Oh, and Woodbury's off. He's punched the wall. Don't know how much damage he's going to have. He looks able to continue as Graf sets a new fast lap of the race at 2:02 flat. That was a very, very big moment. So now you've got one Graf in the lead, gapping pretty comfortably. As you see Perez actually go fastest. The first car in the 201s in the race, 201.95. So, what kind of charge is Woodbury going to be able to mount? Can he get his sights back on the podium? Yeah, Graf first. Tammy and Quinn running closer together. Of course, Tammy's definitely going to be affected by the moment Woodbury had. It's going to significantly compromise his lap time, especially given that he was pretty much right behind him at the time. At this point, I definitely expect Perez is now up to 9th. Well, disappointing race for him, though. I think he had real designs in winning this race, or definitely finishing on the podium. But I would definitely think that Graf should pull away. I think when they're not battling, the only car to really have anything to match his pace is Woodbury, who is obviously now damaged. But we will see if he can make his way around Witcher and try to mount some sort of challenge for the podium. Looks like some more issues for Perez. Well, Perez is back to last. It looks like there were also some issues for Witcher. Let's take a look at Witcher. Looks like he's definitely had an off. Looking at the car, I don't see much damage, but that off is not going to do him much good in terms of the championship. And as a result of that, he is now some 9 seconds behind Juan Amaya. It actually looks like the gap has fixed itself on the timing. He's only 3 seconds behind, but he's going with Tammy running second, just thinking championship, he's going to have to gain a lot of those positions back. And well, at the front, the gap from Graf to Tammy is now 1.5 seconds. Woodbury's, let's keep an eye on his gap. He's 5.5 seconds back in fourth. And Tammy is actually, looks like sorry about that. Didn't think I would get through a whole race without one call. I can only think there was a definite moment there for Graf in that last lap. While Quinn matched his time, Tammy took a full 0.7 of a second out of it. And meanwhile, the gap to Woodbury's down to 5 seconds, just under 5 seconds, with 13 minutes remaining. You can see how hard Graf is pushing just to pull back away and claw back some of his lead. And actually, it looks like it is working. It leads back to 1.2 seconds. But the question is, will his tires hold on? Tammy and Quinn are both falling back. The gap back to Woodbury is actually remaining stable, getting a little smaller. Definitely stable. Just to update you on Eugenio Perez's situation, he is out of the race. Unsure as to what the issue is, but he is not going to finish the race. Meanwhile, at this point, Graf is 6 kilometers an hour down on the fastest trap speed. The gap at the line is a little under a second, but that lap, Graf did beat Tammy by quarter second. Meanwhile, however, gap back to Woodbury is down to 4.5 seconds. So the question is, will he have enough time? I think he'll definitely have enough time to catch back up to Quinn. But I just don't think he'll have enough time to catch back up to Graf in the lead. Keeping an eye on the championship situation, it looks like Witcher has caught up to Juan Amaya, so let's see what's going on back in that battle for 7th position. And of course, you know, this late in the season, any points, any positions you can get are going to count. Witcher is right on the back bumper of that Porsche, so I think it's just a matter of time before he gets him. Maya looks to defend, so he's not going to make it easy for him. With 10 minutes remaining in the race, and Witcher's very close. He's going to try something a little molly. He's going to have to do something bold. Oh, when he does, is he going to be able to hold it, though? The switchback from Amaya. Oh, and there's contact. Witcher is going to get the position, but I think there was a little door bang in there. So in the Ullman straight, Witcher to 7th, Amaya back to 8th. So 5 positions separating the championship battlers on track. As we go back up to the front of the field, we have Graf in the lead. Beat JT Tammy by only half a tenth that lap. So JT is definitely sticking around. Meanwhile, a 2:02.4 that lap by Nick Woodbury, as opposed to a 2:02.3 by Graf. So Graf inching away, 2.5 seconds between Woodbury and Quinn, as Woodbury tries to get onto the podium following his mid-race drama. Looked like he may have gotten to the power just a little too quick, exiting Sunset Bend, and that was all it took for him to just gently, I say gently, he was probably going 60 or 70 miles an hour, but just gently touch the inside wall. But judging by his lap times, there was not significant damage to the car. Oh, mistake from Graf as he runs wide, and JT Tammy is caught right back up. Tammy's going to have to try. He's looking up the inside. Oh, I thought there was going to be contact there. There was not. But Tammy is well and truly there for the lead. And Graf sideways on the Elman straight. So the front three are nose to tail. Meanwhile, Woodbury's gap is down to 3 seconds. And here comes Tammy looking for the lead. And he's going to get it. Tammy to the lead of the motor race. And Quinn behind him looking for second. He was able to do what Woodbury could not. He's able to shut the door. When Graf going to look down the inside into turn one. He is. This battle is not over yet. Oh, there. Oh, and a spin by Graf. A spin on the power. All right, that is going to... We're going to have JT Tammy in the lead. Second, Jason Quinn, 4/10 back. And Nick Woodbury. It says the gap's 2.5 seconds. It doesn't look like 2.5 seconds to me. I'm interested to see if there's contact there. I don't think there was. I mean, Tammy took away the exit of Graf. I mean, so certainly he's entitled to do that. They're racing for position, and he was outside throughout. I don't know if it was just not enough room for Graf to put the power down or what, but JT Tammy, and what I would consider probably a must-win race, is doing just that. He is winning. So the gap at the front, Tammy with a 0.5 of a second lead over Quinn, who is getting closer and closer. Woodbury, meanwhile, is looming large in the back of the picture. So Quinn's going to go up the inside for the lead. Are they? Oh! Ooh! Quinn looked like he got the car upset over the curb. Tammy definitely squeezing him there. I wonder if Tammy's running the tires off the car. And Woodbury, from spinning back to fifth, he is right on the tail of the leaders. 5 minutes to go, and if you want a drama in the last round of the championship, you have certainly got it. Quinn is just as close as he has been to Tammy exiting Sunset Bend. So a 2:03.9 by JT Tammy, a 2:03.8 by Quinn, but a 2:02 flat from Nick Woodbury is putting him right back up in the equation for the lead. And it looks like Tammy's holding, but is Tammy's run wide? He's compromised his exit. And Woodbury is looking for second. Oh, there's contact. Contact between Quinn and Woodbury. Quinn is going to try for the lead. Oh, that looked a bit optimistic. No contact, but he was trying to come from a pretty long way back. That could compromise his exit as Woodbury is looking for second place. And I do not think he appreciated being driven on the grass, which is, I'm sure, how he is going to see that. Graf is 6 seconds back, so he is... unless they take each other out, which the way they're driving is a distinct possibility. I don't think Graf is going to be able to get back into the picture for the win. And if Woodbury is going to make a battle for the win with Tammy, he's going to have to get past Jason Quinn now, which as of now he's yet to do. Quinn he's really smooth through Le Mans, which, as I said in qualifying in the pre-race, is extremely important. It's because, you know, Sunset Bend, I saw the pass for the lead. It's a great passing opportunity. Three minutes to go. Woodbury desperately looking for a way past Jason Quinn. Turn one. Quinn drawing closer again to Tammy, but his primary concern has got to be Woodbury in his rearview mirror. We saw a lap ago Quinn try move from pretty far back. I don't think he's going to be close enough now to try it into the hairpin. No, he's not. But he is right up. He is so much better on the brakes than Tammy right now. I've got to think that's down to worn tires. And I actually commented in the beginning of the race how unstable Tammy's car looked on the brakes. And you can just tell that I think given the opportunity, either of these cars would pull away from Tammy, but can they find a way past? Quinn's a little wide. Well, I don't think it's compromising too much. I'm just waiting for Woodbury or he to try something. He's closer again in Le Mans. Doesn't try anything. Woodbury is... I think Woodbury is ready to try to push him around the corner. Oh, Woodbury's on the inside. Quinn has run wide. So it's Woodbury versus Quinn for second. This is, I think, what Woodbury needed to get by. So Woodbury up into second. And this could be a very fascinating final lap. Woodbury, a pole sitter by a third of a second. On to the final lap. The gap at the front is just under a second. Meanwhile, some rapid change of positions from the faint motion cars. Looks like Buchanan may actually have a problem. He's fallen back to 8th suddenly. There's actually a yellow flag in second one. Looks like it's cleared. But that could explain Buchanan's problem. So, Woodbury growing ever closer to JT Tammy, who is trying to bring home the win. Let's go on board with Woodbury. So he beat him by an 1/8 of a second on that last lap. Let's see what the gap is. You can see it on the top of your screen. A lock up from Woodbury, or from Tammy. Woodbury is 4/10 behind. He's going to have to try to get closer if he wants to make a move in the sunset. Oh, Tammy is locking up all over the place. Woodbury's closer still. Time expired. This is, in fact, the last lap. Tammy trying to hold on. Trying to get what would be a significant win. Oh, and Tammy's sideways. Here comes Woodbury. Woodbury's right up underneath him. Oh, and they touch! And Woodbury's off. Tammy was just so... he was really hard on the brakes. And I do not think that Woodbury was expecting that. Woodbury drops to 4th. And we're going to come off the final corner. No challenge from Quinn. And JT Tammy, despite all the challengers, he's going to hold on. And he will win race 1 at Sebring. And unfortunately, my game crashed when I did that. So I will get you up to date on the final finishing order as soon as I can launch the game again. I will we'll go back to the live timing, though. I can at least tell you, based on that, where we are. But that was certainly dramatic, and honestly something that I certainly didn't see coming. So, across the line, JT Tammy is your winner. Jason Quinn, who I wouldn't say he had the fastest car, but he drove really mistake-free throughout the race. He was just really a cut above in terms of not making mistakes. Norm Graft, despite a spin on the exit of turn 1, comes back to finish third. Even with 2 spins, one on the last lap, fighting for the lead. Woodbury finishes 4th, Mike Bennett 5th. The other championship competitor, Jake Witcher, 6th. So he's going to have his work cut out of him. Of course, he is aided by the fact that it's a reverse grid, so he's going to be starting, I believe, it looks like 5th, and Tammy, of course, is going to start 10th. So he'll definitely be aided by that. And then we have Garth Buchanan in 7th. I'm not sure what happened to Garth. Looked like he definitely had some dramas. He was, looked like he was moving along in 5th or 6th, and then he, unfortunately, just had an issue. Juan Amaya, 8th. John Cook, 9th. And John Tammy, last of the finishers, in 10th. They'll be starting race 2 on pole. I'm going to step away just a second, archive this broadcast, and then from there we'll be live in just a couple minutes. I have to advance the server, and then from there we'll get to race 2 in just a few minutes time. So stick with us. It was an intense race 1, and race 2 I think will just be even more exciting. So thank you for watching. This concludes the coverage of race 1 of round 12 of the Virtual Online Racers Porsche GT3 Cup. So again, JT Tammy, your winner. And with that, I believe he's going to take the points lead. Jason Quinn 2nd, Norm Graff 3rd, and Jake Butcher, the other championship contender, will be starting the race in 5th. We finished race 6th, so and that was work cut out for him. But if anyone can do it, he can.